Hello guys, and welcome to Yakety Mac. It's good to be with you again. Been off for a couple weeks. Been really busy doing a lot of stuff around the house, but I did get a little bit of time to do some fishing yesterday. In fact, it was tournament number 6 on the 24 schedule. We were up at Parker Lake in Jackson, Alabama, and club tournament, and was really excited for this one. It had been, I think, 5 weeks since our last tournament, so I was itching to get back out there again. And boy, I'll tell you what, it was different. I have never fished anywhere like this before. You can see here there are cypress trees everywhere. It was swampy, I guess, much like fishing in a flooded forest. And so that was kind of good and bad. The good side of it is that there was plenty of shelter, plenty of opportunities. Everywhere you looked like an opportunity. The downside of it is that everywhere was not an opportunity, and it was hard to try to figure out what to throw at. And so one of the things that I discovered kind of early on was the grass. You'll see here that there were some trees that had little patches of grass. Not all of them. I'm going to say maybe 25 to 30% of the trees or grouping of trees that you would come across would have this little bit of grass around them. And that's where I got my first couple of bites in the morning. I didn't land anything on my first couple of bites, but it was right through that grass. And this is the interesting part. I threw adjacent to the grass, just to the outside edges of the grass, and that wasn't any good. The only way I could get bit was to bring my lure directly through the grass. So I started the morning off with the Zoom horny toad. And if you've been following me, you know the past couple of months I have been loving on the toad from Zoom. And one of the things that I love about it is that you can throw up into just about anything. You can cast that into anything, and very seldom are you going to get hooked up. So I was able to then drag that toad straight through the grass without any problems. And that was very beneficial because that's the only way I could get bit. And so less than an hour into the tournament, or right about an hour, somewhere in that time frame, I hooked into this fish here. So that's number one. And, you know, I thought, okay, I'd like to have had something a little sooner, but, you know, an hour in, you got one fish in the boat. Now he's 11 inches, so as usual, I'm catching the smaller fish. So, but I'm okay with that. I've still got 7 hours to go, and now I say, okay, let's start searching out these patches of grass, and let's really start to go after this. So I ended up throwing the toad, and you know, anytime you finish a day of fishing, whether it's a tournament or not, you always probably go through this kind of post analysis. And it's like, okay, well, what did I do well, and what did I not do well, or what would I do different? And so I threw that toad for about the first 2 hours of the day. And I wish I had put it down a little bit sooner. I continued to get a little bite, you know, a little smack here or there. I'm not sure if it were pickerel, not sure if it were bass, not sure why I wasn't hooking anything. But for that first couple of hours, I did get some bites. But then it really did shut off. And you know, I'd gone maybe 30 or 40 minutes without anything when I decided to go Texas rig. And so I thought, boy, I'm really on to something here. My very first cast with the Zoom worm Texas rig, this happens. Now, unfortunately, it's not a bass, and I could care less. I mean, yes, they are fighting fish, they are mean fish, they are aggressive fish. That's a bowfin, by the way. But not what I was after, not what I wanted, not what I was looking for. You know, I got the pliers. He's toothy. I at first tried to use the fish grips on him, but he was just so unruly I couldn't even get the fish grips on him. So I reached down with the pliers around the hook and got the hook out without having to bring him into the boat. I try to avoid that at all costs if I can. They thrash around a lot. They're tough to keep still. They're a mean, good fighting fish, but it's not what I'm after. So that happened on the very first cast, and I thought, all right, this is a good sign at least. Well, it wasn't. I continued to cast and cast and cast, and just could not get anything going. There were a couple of times I would throw the worm up into the grass, and I would actually drag the worm, right through the grass. And there were a couple of times I had fish come up and try to hit the worm while it was up on top of the grass. But again, wasn't getting a hook in them, so I'm not exactly sure what type of fish it was. And you know, it was a grind. There was a lot of opportunities, a lot of grass to throw at, but I just could not get anything happening. And so, you know, it's tough when you go through those many hours and you don't know what everyone else is doing. Our tournaments that we do are live weigh-in, and so it's not on an app. It's not like you can look at the app and see how everyone else is doing. I'm actually probably grateful for that, because if it were that way, I would probably look on there and get quite discouraged, even more so than I already was. But it was a grind, and it was getting hot. You know, the heat index was up over 100 until it rained. And once it rained, say the tournament ended at 1:30, I'm going to say the rain moved in, let's say between 11 and 11:30, the first rainstorm moved in. All of a sudden, I started getting bites on that Texas rig worm. And I had a couple on hooked, or at least lure in the mouth, that escaped me. Again, they weren't huge. They were probably in that 12 to 13 inch range, 11 to 13 inch range, somewhere in there. But once the rain started coming, that's when I started getting some bites. And so, you know, one of the things I kept telling myself, and this is a direct result, if you've seen some of my videos, my Learning to Fish, where I was going out, because I literally just started throwing Texas rig, you know, a few months back, less than a year ago, 7-8 months, when I threw my first Texas rig. I remember a particular day of practice in which I hadn't had anything all day. And then there towards the end of the day, I hooked into two pretty nice fish, what I would consider to be very, very good tournament fish, somewhere in that 15, 16 inch range. And so that played in my mind. You know, I kept thinking about that as this day was going on and as I was making cast after cast. And, you know, I had tried different lures. I tried the swim bait with an underspin. That didn't get me anything. So I just kept going back to the Texas rig. I'm like, I've got to get into this grass somehow, because that was the only indication that I had that they were going to be there. I could bump it off of trees, didn't make a difference. Throw it right up next to the base of a tree, let it sink, wouldn't make a difference. It wasn't only when I would get it in that little patch of grass that I would get something. So after the rain came, I was finally able to start getting some bites, and then with about an hour to go in the tournament, this happened. So that was very nice. Kind of caught me off guard a little bit. I'd had so few bites throughout the day that it actually kind of caught me off guard when I saw the line moving. So I set the hook and I got him, and he was the bigger of the two fish, 12 and a half inches, put me at a total of 23 and a half. And so that's where I ended the day. I tried like hell for the last hour to get that third fish. So unfortunately, my streak of weighing in a limit stops at 2. And I'm back on again. Now, I guess the good news is that once you get back to the ramp and you start talking to the guys, it was a grind for everyone. It wasn't just a grind for me. There were no really large fish weighed in. Everyone was catching, the people that were catching them were catching dinks, you know, in that 10 to 13 inch range. There were a couple of larger ones than that, you know, I think maybe in the 16 or 17 inch range. But for the most part, everyone was catching small fish. And I didn't finish last. I'm somewhere in the middle of the pack. I think there were 3 fellas that didn't catch anything, or maybe 2 that didn't catch anything and 1 that caught one, something like that. I don't quite know all the particulars. I just know I wasn't in last place. So, you know, for being so new, being my first year competing, you know, the fact that I didn't finish dead last, I guess, is some sort of a takeaway from this right here. But it was a grind, a very, very different style of fishing for sure. Very different body of water, I should say, and really got overwhelming trying to figure out where the hell to throw to, you know, like, you know, and the only thing I had to go on was I would get bit around grass, so let's just keep looking for grass. And that's really my approach, you know, from about the first hour on in. Now, when the wind picked up and there was a little chop on the water, I did try to go into more open water with that swim bait. Never got a bite on that, never got anything. So I even threw that up into some of the grass areas as well, because it's very weedless. And I couldn't get bit on that either. So it was pretty much after the early morning toad, it was pretty much Texas rig is the only thing I could get a bite on. I should have probably thrown some wacky rig. I had it tied on, never even picked that rod up. I don't know why. I probably should have. I get locked in like that, and that's a habit that I have to break. In fact, I used 3 different lures all day long, and that's it. And you know, I got to get better at that. I had a chatterbait tied on. I never even unwrapped that and threw that. I don't know why. Like I said, I get hung up on throwing a particular lure or two. So guys, that was the tournament wrap up. That's how it went. Not a great day, but not a great day for anyone really, other than the guys that took home money. I guess it's a great day for them. But fishing wise, it was not a great day for anyone as far as landing anything of any size. So we've got another one coming up here in a month. I'm not sure if I'm going to participate in that one. I'll tell you why real quick. It is we partnered up with, I think, Bass Nation or something like that, Kayak Bass Nation, some sort of organization that for this one particular tournament, that it's going to be on the app, I think Tourney X app, and it's also going to be a 5-fish 12-inch limit. That's not really the reason why I'm thinking about skipping this one. Could be a lot of anglers there. We have a lot of options to choose from different ramps and so forth. I have a feeling it's going to be a rather large turnout. And if that's the case, I imagine being late July, heat of the summer, the bass are going to leave the shallows and go deep. I have a feeling this tournament is going to be dominated by the folks that use live scope. I do not. I will not. And I just don't think I'm going to be able to compete. So who knows, I may do an alternative thing that day. Maybe I'll take someone fishing with me, or maybe I'll just get in the kayak and go off by myself that day and do my own thing. But I don't think I'm going to participate in that one. You know, I think you lose a little bit of the camaraderie of the club that way. Nothing wrong with participating in the bigger tournaments. I'm just not there yet. So guys, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. I am planning on filming an After Dark this week. I teased a question in my last After Dark video that a viewer subscriber had asked me, and I am going to address that hopefully sometime this week and put that video out for you guys. So thanks again for watching. I appreciate you. Like, comment, subscribe, and share, please. Guys, I am knocking on the door of 700 subscribers. That's pretty good. Less than a year old channel. Thanks again for watching. I do appreciate you as always. And look, no matter what you've got going on, even when you're remodeling a bathroom, always take some time to get outside and play.